Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to yet another episode of the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah, Wachera. I hope you guys have woken up well. And I'd like to know, how are you feeling today? This morning, how is it taking you? You can do that through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. For now, as it is the norm here at the Younib Breakfast Show, let's go straight to the morning bite of the day. Our discussion for today will be on personality disorder. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to struggle with relationships, emotions, or even behaviors in ways that feel deeply ingrained? Personality disorder shapes the way individuals think, feel, and interact with the world, often causing challenges in their personal and professional lives. But what exactly are they? How do they develop? And most importantly, how can they be managed? And that is what we are going to be answering during this show. And to help us actually break this down, we have a guest, a face that when to a kitambo kidogo, you can remember the face here at the Younib Breakfast Show. So allow me to welcome him to the show and also for him to introduce himself. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Peninah.
How is your morning?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm also doing well. Thanks for asking. So kindly look at the camera and tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome.
Pleasure coming back again after the last show. And my name is Rodgers Okeyo Manason. I'm a psychologist by training, and by occupation I do a lot of things. So thank you for having me here to discuss about the topic of personality disorders. But even before we dive into that, I think I'll start by commending you for the good job that you're doing here at Younib TV, especially in sensitizing the youth and the general population about issues to do with mental health.
Thank you so much.
Maybe if you just allow me to say that the issue of mental health has been a great concern, and you find that traditionally, especially for us Africans, there are a lot of stigma that's associated with mental health, and this has been brought about with by a lot of misconceptions and myths that are said about mental health. A lot of people have been associating mental health with witchcraft, with spiritual issues. And so this misinformation is what has led to stigma. And now stigma has pushed people into silence. So that when someone is struggling with a mental health issue, but to come up because they fear of being judged harshly, of being labeled weak, of being labeled crazy. And so by whatever you're doing, by having these open communications, you're actually deconstructing those myths, and in turn you're reducing the stigma. So I just thought that it's wise that I say that to congratulate you and to commend you for the good job well done.
Thank you so much. Remember this show is probably brought to you by Miss Ashen and Younib organization. And as you've heard, we are trying to just inform you on matters mental health. So if you have any issue with your mental health, you can always call the number 0700-352-250, and our very own psychologist will be able to help you out here. So to start us off, what exactly is personality disorder and how does it really differ from other mental health disorders?
Yes, so when we talk about personality disorders, I think it will also be unfair to define personality disorder without first of all knowing what personality is. So that's where I want to start from. So personality is one of the things that make us unique or different from the other person. As human beings, we're told that we are created uniquely. Every person is very different from the other one. And maybe we start with the basics. What are the things that physically make us different? Maybe we can talk about our body structure, those who are fat, those who are big, those who are thin. We even have color, those who are maybe light skinned, those who are dark. We even have things like some people are hairy, some people are not. And even more specifically, the thing that most relates with personality is our thumbprints. You understand that every person has a very unique thumbprint. And even though from observation, if you look at our thumbprints, they might look similar. But we're told that the print itself is unique, and there's no one who can have the same print, the same thumbprint as yours. So personality exists in the same in the same way, because our personalities are those group of behaviors that determines how we think, how we act, how we feel. But this group of behaviors, they're very unique to every individual. Yes. So that's what our personality is. Yeah. So and there are very different forms of personality. So scientists have been able to classify personalities into different groups, and we have different school of thoughts classifying them differently. I won't engage into that, but now I'll go directly into what you have asked, which is personality disorders. So remember, I've said that personality is a group of traits that determines how we think, behave, and feel. But now you'll find that there's some other within this behavior. There's some behaviors. So when someone has a personality disorders, then these behaviors really has a significant and a negative effect on how they feel, act, and behave. In other words, I'm saying that this is a set of behavior that will cause distress to an individual, or even in relationship. It can cause distress to an individual or cause distress to other people. And as when we're looking at the types of personality, I'll be able to expound further.
Okay, interesting. And I hope, guys, we are following up on this conversation and we're getting to understand actually our personality. And it begs me to ask you guys, do you know your personality? And if you know, you can always tell us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook. And there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719-144-144. Hopefully, we'll be able to sample your comments as the show continues. Okay, so to the next question, what are the most common types of personality disorders and how are they categorized?
Okay, so according to the DSM-5, DSM-5 is Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. That's is a manual that's used by psychiatrists to classify all mental conditions or all mental disorders. So we have 10 different personality disorders. Those that are very unique. I'll start with them, and then I'll mention the others briefly here. So clinically, they've been classified into 3 categories. We have cluster A, cluster B, and cluster C. But in my when I'll be sharing, I will not follow the clustering. I just mention the ones that are very predominant, the ones that are very common, the ones that we interact with on a day-to-day basis, and then I'll also mention the rest. So maybe the first one that I can start with is a personality disorder we call narcissistic personality disorder. And I think narcissistic, because narcissism is a term that is used commonly in relationships. If you have perhaps an unfriendly friend, you can have an unfriendly friend. Let's say someone that you don't like, a colleague. It can be a sibling, a parent, or even within a circle of friends. If they're not treating you fairly, then you say that this person is a narcissist. Yeah. But remember, that's a trait. So we usually relate the trait with the personality. We have narcissism as a trait, and then we have now the personality disorder. Even before we continue, I think allow me to give a disclaimer that when it comes to personality disorders, it's only the clinicians who are allowed to diagnose. So we'll just be doing this for the purpose of learning, but don't start self-diagnosing or diagnosing your friend that you have this kind of personality disorder. Yeah. So I'd mentioned about narcissistic personality disorder, and people who have narcissistic personality disorders, they usually have this exaggerated sense of self-importance. They feel that they're very superior to other people, and also they rarely show empathy to other people, or they might lack empathy at all towards other people. So the most common term that is used to describe people with narcissistic personality disorder is grandiosity. Yeah, someone who's grandiose, someone who thinks that he's better off than everyone else. And these are people, let's say if you're in a conversation with them, or when you're interacting with them, they'll tell you how they're highly connected with the president, with the ministers, those very high. Yeah, and they would like to remind you how you are low, or they would like to belittle you. Yeah, so that's a personality. That's the first personality disorder. Yeah, and these are people, for someone to be diagnosed with a personality disorder, then these traits have to be consistent. I failed to mention that they should be existing for a long period of time. Yeah, so that's now differentiated between the disorder and the trait. Because someone can just have the trait for a situation. But now if it's something that is consistent and is existing for a long period of time, then that can qualify as a disorder. Yes, so narcissistic personality disorder, people are grandeur. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, can I go ahead to mention the other one? Yeah, so we also have antisocial personality disorder. People with antisocial personality disorder are people who they might harm other people and don't feel remorse about it. Yeah, so you see, like as human beings, it's normal to have empathy. Like whatever is affecting the other person, even if, let's say if you're slaughtering a chicken, there's some sort of way you're supposed to feel because you're losing. Yeah, you're losing a life. And but to see if someone who can do something to you and they don't feel anything, those are the people who we term that they have antisocial personality disorder. Actually, traditionally they used to be referred to as psychopaths and sociopaths, but with the new revision of the classification, those terms were done away with because they also tend to portray stigma. Yeah, so that's the other type of personality disorder. People who have no remorse, they harm people, but they have no remorse.
Okay. And before you get to the other type of disorder, yeah, I want us to take a short break and we'll be back with more concerning the conversation. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and today we are having a discussion on personality disorder. And before the break, we were speaking about the types of personality disorders that are there. We've been spoken about the social, you said social, antisocial personality disorder, and also the narcissistic, personality disorder. So let's continue with the types of disorders.
Yes, so other common personality disorders, there's one that we call paranoid personality disorder. Just from the word paranoid, someone who's paranoid is someone who always suspects other people. Okay. They feel like other people are planning malice against them. They feel like someone is there to harm them. So these people, the people definitely cannot. They won't trust anyone if you're working with them or if you're relating with them in any way. So because they always have that belief that someone is out there to get them, and of course these beliefs are not supported by any evidence. You say. Yeah, so that's the other common personality disorder. People, who are just there and feeling like someone is out there who wants to harm them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, the next one.
Yeah. We also have what we call avoidant personality disorder. And now people with avoidant personality disorder, these are people who, just from the term also avoidant, they will avoid social interactions. So they fear criticism, they fear rejection, and so by that they tend to live lonely lifestyles. So this like someone who we should say that they don't have a social life. Akitoka kazini anataka kwenda jifungie kwa nyumba, and they won't even they will really struggle with forming intimate relationship, especially with people of the opposite gender, because they prefer to live their lives alone. Yeah, so that's the other one. And the last one that maybe I can mention is the dependent personality disorder. And also from the word dependent, these are people who depend on other people. They are people who cannot make their own decisions. They cannot have independent choices. They tend to cling on other people. And by that, they now become submissive, and they can even be abused, because you see, if they cling, their personality just pushes them for them to survive, they have to be with another person. They cannot operate independently. Then they are prone or vulnerable to abuse in relationships.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So those are the common.
Okay. Okay. So I hope all of us have gotten to understand the type of personality disorders, yeah? And we are taking notes, because I tell you guys, every time you're watching the Younib Breakfast Show, you should have your notebook and your pens, because we are here to always inform you on matters mental health for now, yeah? So coming back to the conversation, what are the causes of personality disorders? Are they really genetic?
Yes. So when it comes to personality disorders, I think a lot of research is still being carried out to understand what exactly causes them. But the ones that are, whatever has been already established, that even before the disorder, genetics causes personality. Our personality is tied to our genetics. So the things you can inherit from your parents, which will inform your personality. And of course, if you'll be having a personality disorder, then there's also a high likelihood that you might have inherited from your, not wholly, but part of it could have been inherited. Remember, I said the personality is a group, a set of characteristics. Yeah. So you might have inherited one characteristic from your parents that's causing that disorder. So the other thing is environment. And environment has an influence in our personality, even before we come to personality disorder. The way our personalities are, they're usually shaped by the environment. When I talk about the environment, is what we interact with on a day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. It could be a physical environment or social environment. So when I talk about physical environment, maybe the neighborhood that you're living in, the kind of home that you're living in. And when I talk about the social aspect, let's say family, things like poverty, and the culture that we have been raised in also shapes our personality. And let's say, for example, something like antisocial personality disorder. We say that these are people who harm other people and they feel no remorse. Perhaps, let's say, if this person was abused as a child, to an extent that also they became emotionally numb, you find that they might develop traits that can make them to be antisocial. Yeah. So genetics. We have the genetics. We have the environment. And especially the experience that someone has during childhood. If you look at, there's a theory in psychology called psychoanalytic, which says that our personality mostly is developed during childhood. Yeah, like for example, when love is denied when someone's a child, then they might develop personalities that are a bit that reflects that. Or if someone is abused as a child, then because they tend to suppress these feelings and emotions, then in adulthood it might influence their personality. So I've talked about genetics and also environment.
Environment, yeah. And when I started, I had said that personality disorders maybe affect our daily life. So I'd like you to explain to us, how does personality disorder really affect a person's daily life, work, and relationships?
Yes. So you are on point that personality disorders will affect our day-to-day life. Yeah. And because personality disorders are those those personality traits that deviate from the normal. Because you see, as human beings, that's what is expected from us. And so when your behavior tends to deviate from that, then it will have a toll on you and also on other people. And let me give an example, like for people who are narcissistic, people with narcissistic personality disorder, we've said that they lack empathy and they have this tendency of belittling other people and feeling that they're superior to other people. If someone has that kind of trait or that kind of disorder, who will enjoy having a relationship with them? Definitely very few people. Yeah. No one would like to be in a space where they're belittled or their views are disregarded. So you see, that personality definitely will affect someone's interaction with other people. So when we come to, let's say, the antisocial bit, it's also been associated with a lot of criminal behavior. When someone is antisocial, they usually tend to get into crime because whatever they're doing, they won't feel remorse. Like if I'm, like let's say, taking this your phone and going away with it, and I don't feel anything about it. You see, so like it affects you, but also myself get into problem with the law. So like, yeah, so people with narcissistic antisocial personality disorder will always, most of them, or a significant number of them, will always find themselves on the wrong side of the law. And the case is similar with other personality disorders. They usually cause problems in personal relationships and interpersonal relationships. Yes.
Okay, interesting. I am getting to learn a lot, and I hope you guys also are getting to learn more about personality disorder. Yeah. So when we come back, I want us to learn more about the key signs and symptoms of different personality disorders. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah, Wachera, and my guest here, and we're trying to enlighten you on matters personality disorders. Yeah, remember this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Ashan and Younib Organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to inform you on matters mental health. So if you know of anybody who is struggling with their mental health, you can always ask them to call the number 0700 352 250, and our very own psychologist will be able to help them out. Yeah. So coming back to the question, before the break, I had said that we are coming to speak about the key signs and symptoms of different personality disorders. So please take us there.
Okay, thank you so much, Peninah. So I'll go back to the ones that I did mention, the types that I did mention. Starting with the first one, the narcissistic personality disorder. Okay, narcissistic personality disorder we say that these are people who have an exaggerated sense of self-importance. Yeah. They feel like they should be up there and you should be low there. Yeah, so some of the common signs and symptoms that are associated with this personality disorder are, we have grandiosity. I mentioned grandiosity is that actually sense of feeling more important than other people, and wanting to associate yourself with the higher people and power. Yeah, that will tell you that, you do know, in the next 2 years I'll be the area MCA, and there's nothing to do about it. And yeah, they always see themselves like, without definitely, and let's not mistaken it with being ambitious, because someone who is ambitious has a plan. Someone who is narcissistic doesn't have any plan. They just want to say things that will make them feel superior, and yourself, and you feel low. So there's the aspect of grandiosity. We also that another symptom that they always see themselves as important, very important people. I think I've touched on that when I was talking about grandiosity. Then they have the need for admiration. So it means that if there's someone they're not recognized, then it becomes a problem. And not just being recognized. This is someone who, like say, if you're addressing them and then you miss the title Mheshimiwa, then it becomes a very big problem to them. Other people like to be called governor, chairman, those very big titles. It satisfies their ego. Yes. And then we also have a sense of entitlement, because they want to control. That feeling of importance makes them to want to control everything. So it also, they feel like whenever they have to take charge. That sense of being entitled. Yeah. And sometimes, let's say in relationship, they might even feel entitled to your personal decisions and well-being. They would like to manage even your personal finances. They like to manage how you dress, how everything that you do, because they definitely have to be their way or the highway. And then we also have a sense of exploitation, because of that sense of lack of empathy and feeling entitled. They'll exploit other people in personal relationships. So that's to do with narcissistics. Yeah, so when we go to antisocial, we say that there are those people who don't feel pain. They have no remorse. They might do anything to you, and to them it's not. They're even wondering, why are you feeling bad? Like, you're not supposed to. I'm supposed to slap you and to smile, like not, not cry. Yeah, and that's why I've told you that it's even associated with crime, with criminal behavior. So some of the common symptoms for this personality disorder is that they lie. They thrive in lying, because it doesn't hurt them even if they lie to you. Actually, you should be comfortable with it. And then they also manipulate other people, and they don't feel that sense of accountability or responsibility. Yeah, so whatever happens to you doesn't matter. So they rather escape responsibility by manipulating people, and they tend to harm others. I think we've already talked about this, because of that lacking remorse. Yeah. So without forgetting, they also disregard the rights of other people. Don't expect someone with an antisocial personality to respect your boundaries or to respect your personal space. Yes. So when we go to the other one that I talked about, the avoidant. The avoidant, we say that these people, they fear criticism or rejection, and so by that they prefer to live lonely lifestyles. And so some of the most common symptoms with this one is that they just from the definition, they'll fear rejection, and also they will fear social relationships. So most of them will prefer that, they will find that they prefer to live even single lifestyles, or live very far away from other people. Let's say if someone is working here in Nairobi, they'll prefer to live at the very far end of town, where they don't interact with other people. If you call them for social gathering, they'll rarely show up, because they prefer to live their life alone. Yeah. So we're going to the dependent one. The dependent one, the common signs are that these are people who they never make their own decisions. Their decisions have to be influenced by the other person. And also you find that they also don't take responsibility, because now if something happens, they'll shift blame to other people. They also tend to be clingy, meaning that even if they're having abuse relationships, they won't get out of that relationship because their survival is dependent on the other party. And also, lastly, I talked about also the paranoid, lacks loyalty to people. They cannot confide in another person, and also they hold grudges.
Okay. Because of time, I'd like to just quickly, you explain to us how the personality disorders can be managed.
Or how personality disorders can be managed. Yeah. Okay, so also very quickly, 2 ways that have been proven to manage personality disorders. Number one is through therapy, through psychotherapy. Psychotherapy is where we use talk to try and to change people's perception. Which, of course, if you change someone's way of thinking, it will have a consequence on their behavior. Yes. So, the most common form of psychotherapy that we use is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, where we try to challenge those negative thought patterns and replace them with new, healthy thought patterns, and also teach people new coping mechanism. Like you can teach someone to at least have some form of empathy. And if, let's say, someone who has a narcissistic personality, you can try to challenge their sense of importance. That you try to challenge those thoughts that they are better off than other person through CBT. And so, and now the last bit is medication, and this is to deal with those symptoms that come as a result of people who have personality disorders. For example, if someone who has an avoidant personality disorder, you see they live lonely lifestyles. They are likely to experience depressive moods. So medication can come to help there. Yes.
Thank you so much for enlightening us on personality disorder. It's been actually awesome having you in studio, and thank you for also educating us. I know right now vile tuliingia si the way we are when it comes to personality disorder, and now we are more open to actually know, and also more lesser in judgment, yeah, because most of the people always judge people, oh, this one is a narcissist. Once in a relationship, we've had a lot of people saying, this is a narcissist. I was dating a narcissist. Oh, yes. So I hope now we've gotten to change this narrative, yeah, and we'll stop calling people and just wait for them to be diagnosed, yeah. So thank you so much again, and you're welcome again and again here in studio, yeah. So to everyone who has made this show a success, thank you so much, Elias Muchina, for being our director and also our camera person. Thank you for whatever you do for this show. Asante sana. And to you, our viewers, thank you for always tuning in to the morning breakfast show every morning at Younib TV, yeah. And remember, it's good for you to share these conversations to people who it might be helpful for them, yeah. So until next time, do have a beautiful day ahead. Goodbye.